This segment of Delmarva Life is brought to you by the law offices of Tunnell and Raysor.
I think most of us would probably agree that when it comes to buying or selling a home, there is a whole lot to get excited about. Most of us would probably also agree that sifting through all the paperwork in the process is really not on that favorites list.
It is, however, of utmost importance. The team at Tunnell and Raysor is ready and eager to do it for you. Delmarva Life's Katie Zerilli sat down with Jamie King, who's not only proficient in real estate legal matters, but he's also taking on a new role at the firm.
Meet Jamie King. He's the new managing director at the law offices of Tunnell and Raysor, a title he's thrilled to take on.
I am very excited about it. I've been at Tunnell and Raysor my entire legal career. I always envisioned myself as coming through the ranks and seeing everything and wanting to be in this position.
A position he's stepping into with respect and reverence for those who came before him and the legacy created that's lasted.
I hope to just continue to build off of that and ensure that Tunnell and Raysor is here for a very long time to come.
Jamie's primary practice area is real estate. He's passionate about being a part of what's likely the biggest purchase most people make.
I just take a lot of pride that to be part of people's lives in a meaningful way in such a big event that happens for them, and I know that it's so important to have it documented correctly and get them through to the end game of being able to move on to the next chapter and enjoy their homes and not have any lingering issues, and to come back to us if little things come up in the future.
He says whether it's residential or commercial real estate, the lawyer's job is to make sure all parties are on the same page and make sure what's written on the page is crystal clear.
The most important thing is just accuracy and directness in the document. So the negotiation process can be as easy as you want it to be, but the biggest thing is that people want to ensure that expectations are out there in the documents. Some of the documents are very legalese oriented that people may not understand. The fortunate thing is we bring at Tunnell and Raysor institutional knowledge that we've had for a long time.
Since 1880 to be exact. They've now got 5 locations spread throughout Sussex and Kent counties. It's Delaware state law to have a lawyer involved with any type of real estate transaction, and Jamie says, for good reason.
Especially in today's climate where we have COVID concerns, we have other concerns that we've seen a lot of addendums to contracts and issues that are being addressed that have never been addressed. So we try to stay on top of any new law changes. And some people, especially coming from outside this area, may not know that information.
Today's housing market also is fast-paced, which means these guys also make sure that in the quickness of it all, nothing gets overlooked.
Anytime there's a sense of urgency and speed is involved and we just want to get it done, that's when things do get missed, even if they're the small kind of what people may seem as meaningless do mean a lot. So we have to be careful on our side to make sure that we stay up with the speed, get people to settlement when they're supposed to get to settlement.
In the exhilarating buying-selling process, Jamie says often people don't think about contingencies, like those that have to do with home inspection or financing. He assures that the investment folks make in a lawyer now will be smaller than the amount it'll cost if they run into trouble later.
And I can assure everybody that what you pay us to do your transaction and make sure that it's smooth is always going to be a lot cheaper on the front end than it is if you have issues come up on the back end, either to fix those issues, whether it be to complete your current transaction or down the road 10 years from now if you go to sell your house and you have a missed issue or a title issue. Those things can be very expensive and time-consuming to deal with.
Jamie says most people welcome his advice and appreciate his insight.
I always tell people there are no dumb questions. Unfortunately, or fortunately for us and for our clients, I've done more real estate transactions than just about anybody that is going to come and sit in front of me as far as that goes. So we have seen all those things that sometimes those questions that you may think meaningless, that they pop into people's heads. So we're always here to kind of walk through those things.
He himself walked through the process this past August when he and his wife built a new house, and he he chose to do so with his coworkers.
Really helped me out. My wife is not involved in real estate and have that background, so it was good for her to hear it and go through the process and make it smooth, and to see what goes on the other side of the table as far as bringing the lender together and really, as a buyer, not worrying a lot about stuff because I have a great team.
A great team that in any transaction you know you can trust.
Jamie adds that there are great realtors in this area and he enjoys working with them.